basically locked myself in my childhood bedroom where there was 2 bunk beds and my brother shared the room with me until I made my first 10k in a month. So the other day I'm on YouTube, and on my homepage there's a video that's titled, "I locked myself in my bedroom until I made 10k per month." And I read the title and realized that's exactly what I did. I graduated college in 2019, and this is where things kind of clicked for me. You see, that year as I finished up college, I really realized that I definitely didn't want to get a job. From a young age, I always had goals of having my own business, making money for myself, and I had done a few little side hustles, things that kind of worked but didn't really work long term. But as I came out of my final year of college, there was a couple of graduate jobs I applied to because I kind of felt like I had to. It's what everybody around me was doing, and I got denied. I didn't get accepted for any of the jobs. And so about a week before we went on study leave, which was like a week or 2 period of study before our final exams, I actually got an opportunity to do more freelance work. At the time, I was working with 1 or 2 fitness coaches doing not a whole lot of work. I wasn't making a lot of money. I was getting paid maybe €12 per hour to just do admin for them, help them create some content, sometimes manage parts of their website or email marketing, very basic stuff. And so the freelance client that I got during that time started off really low scale, 5 hours a week just to kind of get things moving. It could have been a little more, maybe 10 hours per week, but it scaled up really fast. So within about a week, I went from this being a very much part-time thing to doing like 40 hours a week with them. Now, if you have been in college or university and you've done a study week and you've had a set of final exams, you'll know that is the fucking time where you got to put your head down, get the books open, study and cram as much as you can. And that's what I did. I actually did that. So I studied, got the grades I needed, but I was doing my 40 hours a week or so with this freelance client. Now, a couple of months into this arrangement, I realized, that's not the end goal. I was making okay money for me in Ireland. I was happy with what I was making. But if I wanted to make more money, which I wanted to make more money, the only way to do that was to really work more hours. I negotiated a bit of a pay rise at one point, but I think I went from like $15 an hour with this client to $20 an hour, which, it made a difference, but it wasn't going to get me to 10, 20, 30k per month. And so it was a few months later when I kind of finally got the courage to do my own thing. I was already doing my own thing technically by being a freelancer, but I wanted to have a business, a system, a collection of systems really, and people in place that would run quite a lot of the business while I could direct it, set the vision, set the strategy, do the work, but have people to support what I was doing. I knew that's how I was going to be able to get past 10k a month and beyond that. So college ended in, I believe it was May 2019, and I had a lease in Dublin in Ireland on an apartment which I ended up staying in for a couple of extra months throughout the summer. And I was just working the freelance position, that was it. And then it got to a point where lease was up and I went back home. So back to my parents' house, back to the childhood bedroom. Which if you've ever done that, if you've ever lived away and then gone back to your fucking childhood bedroom, it's a weird feeling. It's a lot of comfort, but it can kind of feel like you're going backwards. And that's how it felt for me. But what it gave me was really the opportunity to kind of take my foot off the gas pedal a little bit with the freelance work and kind of scale down the hours a bit, and then redirecting that focus into building my own thing. Because I didn't have rent to pay, I didn't have bills. I would of course give some money to my parents, but I wasn't paying what I was paying in Dublin. And so I used that, and I basically locked myself in my childhood bedroom where there was 2 bunk beds and my brother shared the room with me until I made my first 10k in a month. I cut down my spending on everything. Apart from working, I didn't fucking do much, I'll be honest. I worked out, I kept myself in shape, I ate good food. I of course spent time with my family in the evenings. I'd meet my friends a couple of times on the weekends, and that was it. I just went into focus. In my mind at that time, like the only thing that was on my mind all day was, how can I grow my social media marketing agency? How can I grow this? How can I build the systems? How can I get clients in? It's all I was thinking about. So anytime I would pick up a book, immediately any lesson I would take would go straight into me trying to apply that to the business. Any podcast I would listen to, whether it was fucking about health or fitness or some dude talking about business, I would be trying to take insights, directly into my business. I was, as the kids say, I was dialed in, I was locked in. And the thing that I've learned from now coaching hundreds of people that have gotten to 5K, 10K, 20, 30K per month with their business is that you don't need that. You don't need to lock yourself in your childhood bedroom to make 10K in a month, but it does help. If you have the opportunity to do it, you should do it. Basically deciding, hey, I'm going to sacrifice for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, however long it takes. But I'm also in this such a privileged position. For me, I had the privilege of going back to my parents' house. They didn't kick me out. They didn't have my room rented out. It was still there. So if you are like me and you had that privileged position, you gotta use it. You might be thinking, if you're in the situation where you're living away from home right now, like the thoughts of you going back home probably does feel like a step back, and it probably feels like the worst thing to do. And for me, I very much felt that as well. But wouldn't you rather take one step back to take 2, 3 monumental steps forward? And that's the decision. You can do this if you don't live at home, right? Like you live in an apartment, you rent, whatever your situation is, you can do this. The concept is simple. You lock yourself in until you get there. Sounds simple, sounds boring, sounds easy, right? That's it. It's you lock yourself in a place. You tell yourself, I'm not allowed to leave this place until I get there. All right, so if you're thinking about going on holidays, doing some trips, doing some travel, cool. Do it when you hit 10K a month. It doesn't have to be 10K a month, right? You could have a goal of something else. It could be 5K a month. It could be 3K a month. You dictate what your goal is, but set your goal. Set yourself in that container where you have to get it done in a certain time or in that certain place, and then you can go and do the other things. Right now I see a massive surge in the fitness industry about high rocks and people doing half marathons, ultra marathons. I think it's become much more mainstream than before. The reason I bring this up is that there's a lot of people I speak to that are looking to start a business, but they're also trying to do a high rocks next weekend or ultra marathon 2 weeks from now. Don't get me wrong, you can do that. But the thing that worked best for me was going all in on the business first, creating the business that then had systems and a team and could run 80% without you, and then diving more into the hobbies and the interests and the things that you want to do personally for your soul. Because the thing is, money does not buy you the happiness. It doesn't buy you a life of smiles, right? What money does is it gives you the baseline freedom for all other things. And when you have money locked in, and you have an income that is more than most people, and then you've got a stash that you're essentially saving up for a rainy day, you can now afford to do the other things. You can go off, do what you need to do. You can travel. You can sign up for a fitness event. You can learn a new language, whatever. So my message isn't that you just have to do business like a robot and that's the only way to make it work. No. My message is that worked for me and that works for certain people. And so if you have the privileged position that I had and you can move back to your parents' house for a few months, I think you should do it. Now, as soon as you get to whatever point you're trying to get to, so for me, as soon as I got the business past 10K a month, I was thinking, all right, cool. How do I get out of here? Love my family, love my parents. Just as a young guy in his 20s, it's not the place I wanted to be. Look, if you're familiar with my story, you'll know that I grew my business from there. We didn't just stop at 10K per month. And this really interesting thing happened. You see, after we got past 10K per month, there was this thing that happened in the world. And just before that happened, I had a flight booked to Vietnam. I had my visa sorted, I had my Airbnb booked for a month, and a one-way flight. And so at this point, I think maybe my business was doing 15, maybe 20K per month. So it was doing good, but I still wanted to grow it, right? There was still levels I wanted to get to. And I couldn't go to Vietnam because of the situation. I actually think that was a really good thing, because if my goal was to get to 20K per month and then travel, unreal. Going to Vietnam probably would have been the best thing that would have happened. But my goal was to get past that. I wanted to get to 30, 40, and eventually 50K per month. It was just in my brain. That was the goalpost. And so because that flight got cancelled and the Airbnb got refunded, I was stuck back home once again. And that gave me no other option. So what did I do? I locked myself in my childhood bedroom till I got to the next level. And then when things started to loosen up a bit and I could start to travel again, boy, that was nice, because I was making multi-six figures a year, real good income. And now I could properly enjoy it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. You know, if you've been in a similar situation to me, let me know in the comments below. I just realized that getting to the 5, 10, 20K per month mark with your business, if it's an SMMA or consulting kind of business, it's really a matter of time. It can happen so fast, or it can happen over 2 years. You genuinely are the one that determines how fast it happens. I've had people and I've seen people go from 0 to 7, 8 grand in 2 months. I've seen people go from 0 to 13,000 per month in 4 months. And I've seen others take way longer. You are the one. You got to use that time wisely. See you in the next one.